Everybody's been talking about Trump's big, beautiful bill. And while everybody's scurrying around worrying about all the different taxes and fees and what regulations are coming and going, what nobody's talking about is the automotive industry and how it's wrapped up in all of this. There are some really, really big moves that are coming down the pipeline if this bill gets passed. And there's a lot of stuff that we wanted to tackle with it.
And some of it's missing from the bill or is being forgotten.
That's
And
the biggest thing we wanted to tackle, is that there's a kill switch coming for your car that you can't turn off. That's going to be mandatory to put in all new vehicles, and it's still in play. And this big, beautiful bill could have actually removed it, but nobody's done it yet.
no one's even talked about it, and that's what we're going to bring up. We've covered the kill switch bill. You have been on fire. I've gotten some of your questions, actually, and we're going to address those as we go further into this because your questions have been very thought-provoking, and maybe this is the reason why it hasn't been removed. But I want to start off with, what is the kill switch bill? And it comes from the infrastructure bill from 2021, signed by Joe Biden. They called it the what was it? It had a silly name.
It was the infrastructure bill, or
It was but it was section 24220.
yeah.
So you can look it up.
It's the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act.
Which none of that worked because there was the investment was in somebody's pocket. Again, we're going to talk about that in a bit
Definitely
too.
lack of infrastructure funding there.
Yeah. And we can tell by the roads and bridges, which we just covered last week.
Yep.
About the bridges and how many bridges are falling apart because they're not funding it. All that money from your gas taxes and everything is going into a general fund, not into the roads and bridges that we all need, because this is what we all drive. I don't care what you're driving, it's being impacted.
And there's some things in the big, beautiful bill that are addressing things like that.
Well, it's
But-
taking out the tax credit,
Yeah.
but it's not taking out the kill switches. And this
that's the
is
big thing.
super critical.
Yeah.
And there's a tension from this on both the House and Representative side, but not enough of it. On the House side, Thomas Massey will address that. And on the Senate side, we just got interest from Byron Donalds,
There you go.
who represents the Naples, Florida area and Fort Myers.
Yep.
So this is good because we need some go-getters to get this removed so that we don't have cars that shut off on us. So instead of listening to what you think I'm saying, I want Paul to actually first start off by reading the actual bill, not the whole bill, because you'll get a headache.
We actually just read through it before we started
It's
the
long.
recording.
Yeah.
It's very long and it will bore you all to death. So
We have a
I have a
very,
summary.
we have a very short summary for you.
Yeah, but before we do, I'm Paul Fix the Third,
I'm Lauren Fix.
and this is Car Coach Reports. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you get some value out of this. Before we get rolling, like, subscribe, and here's a quick word from our video sponsor.
Have you ever wondered what happened to Chuck Norris? At 84, he's still kicking butt, working out and full of energy for his grandkids. Shockingly, he's stronger and feels like he's in his 50s, all from one simple change. His wife started doing it too. Feels 10 years younger and has all-day energy. Chuck shares his method in a special video at chuckdefense.com/car. Click the link below to watch it now. You won't believe how easy it is. He focuses on 3 things that sabotage our health as we age. Visit chuckdefense.com/car to learn more. So let's start off, Paul. Read us the summary. I'm not going to bore you. Of Section 24220 of the 2021 infrastructure bill signed by President Joe Biden, or the auto pen. We're not going down that road. So
You're bad.
I know.
Section-
It's low-hanging fruit.
Section 24220 of the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which is H.R. 3684 for all of you taking notes, signed into law on November 15th, 2021, mandates that the U.S. Department of Transportation, the DOT, requires advanced impaired driving prevention technology in all new passenger vehicles. This technology must passively monitor driver performance and blood alcohol levels, preventing driver operation if impairment is detected above the legal limit of 0.08 BAC per 23 U.S. Code 163A. The DOT, through the National Highway Traffic and Safety Association, NHTSA, 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 must finalize regulations by November 15th, 2024, with compliance required within 2 to 3 years by September 2027 at the latest, unless technology maturity necessitates delay. The provision aims to reduce drunk driving fatalities, which is about 10,000 deaths in 2024, in a 2022 bill, Safeguarding Privacy of Your Car Act, proposed repealing the section but did not pass. That was Thomas Massey's bill
Yes,
that he
he
tried to
brought.
put through.
Yeah.
It has a couple other things in it, but he specifically wanted to make sure that this kill switch, which they're not calling a kill switch, but it is.
He called it a kill switch,
Well,
and he's correct. Whether you like him or not, this is to everyone's benefit.
yeah. Politics are not the conversation right now. This
No.
is about your driving freedom. This is about your ability to drive what you want, how you want, and not be told by a potentially faulty system that you looked away from the road for too long, and now warning sensors and alarms, and the car shuts off and pulls you to the side of the road and stops.
So I call this dystopian, the dystopian future of the kill switch. And it's important to note, and we both agree, drinking while driving is an absolute no-no. If you're going to drink, call an Uber, get someone else to drive.
Yep.
We are not, just because I know there's going to be comments, there always is.
Yeah.
You want people to drink and drive. No, I don't. But I will tell you this, if you have multiple DWIs or even a DUI or any of those type of things, the courts will has available to them 32 different devices that actually work. You can blow into a breathalyzer. They have all kinds of ignition locks that work, and they have worked. But Mothers Against Drunk Driving, which is MAD, has been very big on supporting this, which is weird that they had this much push in an infrastructure bill. That I find unusual.
Lobbyists, like we mentioned at the beginning,
We didn't. You and I talked
Oh,
about
sorry.
one of the questions.
Lobbyists come out of everywhere.
Yeah.
They got tons of money. Sorry, we talk about this all the
Mhm.
time. If you couldn't tell, like us going on camera is just continuing conversations that we're already having.
Right.
Things that we think that you might actually be interested in listening to.
So one of the past comments from you, the listeners, was how much did the insurance lobbyists pay to get the legislation passed? That was such a good question because we know that lobbyists make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Somebody, I don't know if it's someone who created this technology or who knows, maybe it's an insurance company, said, hey, listen, you go and get that put into the infrastructure bill. So you talk to the people that are your allies. I know this works. I have a lot of friends that are lobbyists, some good, some not so good. And they bring it to whoever it is and say, we can support your effort. We can support your reelection. We need this in there. So you bury it in an 1,100 page infrastructure bill.
Yep.
And call it section 24220. And only someone like me who would actually scan it to read it, because nobody read it.
Because we're always hunting for car-related things,
Right.
And they mention it.
But the key thing is that this was brought to the House floor by Thomas Massey. He read it, and he explained each section. How many sections are there?
They're inside section 24220.
Quite a
there are
few. 5 different sections. It's long, and each one has like subsection A, B, C,
Yeah,
D,
but
E.
it's all legalese.
Sure it is.
But the really important part here is that the summary that I gave you really does describe what's actually in the bill, which I'm looking at right now. And it says that there must be a technology that is developed and rules that are set by the DOT and NHTSA
Right.
for a system like this to prevent it says prevent vehicle operation in the case that somebody is above the legal limit.
Mhm.
But there's also a provision I mentioned very briefly that's really the reason why we're super worried about this, because I'm sorry, this is the reason why we're worried about it, and this is what it says. It says it detects whether or not the driver is impaired in ways other than alcohol, like distracted, or if they're inebriated in some other way, like drugs.
Well, hold on.
But-
What about all the
but that's-
different scenarios?
That's the big issue. So the DOT was supposed to have laws put in place November 15th, 2024, and if they
I
didn't,
think we're past that.
that's why I was
Yeah,
laughing
that's
earlier.
how he was reading. I looked at my watch, not to look at the time, because I'm like, I think we're in
I think we're a
25.
little bit past that.
Yeah, we're 6 months beyond, 7 months beyond that.
So they were supposed to
That was under
submit-
Buttigieg. Don't get me started.
we were supposed to have a ruling on, or at least a rule put in place by the DOT through NHTSA that said, okay, we took this rule, we've actually made a provision for exactly how this technology is supposed to operate, what it's supposed to do, and how it's supposed to be implemented in cars, that they didn't do it. And there was a provision here also in the bill that says that they had to give a reason to 2 different committees. They were the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation for the Senate, and the Committee on Energy and Commerce for the House of Representatives, explaining why they couldn't get the rule
That
done
was
in time.
before Trump was in office. So now you've
So
got
Buttigieg
Sean.
dropped the ball.
Well, we
And now,
assume because nobody knows anything. It's like crickets,
yeah.
and there's nothing on the Federal
And Sean
Registry.
Duffy said nothing about it.
Right. But I'm trying to get a hold of Sean Duffy. So if any of you know Sean Duffy, have a way for me to reach him, I've already reached out to his office. I've not got a
We're
reply.
going to ask in every episode,
gonna-
and one of you is going to know him.
Someone's going to know him. He's my neighbor. He's my buddy. I'm friends with his wife, one of his many, many kids. He's awesome. He's doing great work. And I've got more coverage on some of he's removing the corporate average fuel economies. He's doing great work. And I'm very supportive of him, but he doesn't even know this exists.
Or at least it
Because
seems
there's
like he
so
doesn't.
much to undo. And that's why, I couldn't imagine being in that position. Just every you at the airports and,
Yeah.
and crashes and
So-
everything else he's trying to deal with.
So this kill switch.
It's a lot. So here's the interesting thing about the kill switch. First up, they did a survey in 2022. This is what Mothers Against Drunk Driving is using. The AAA automotive.
Well, because these provisions are always based on some survey that's presented
Sure.
to a politician.
Mhm.
Because these aren't, they're relying on the lobbyist being an expert in the field
Mhm.
and convincing the politician that, hey,
Somebody made
this is a
money.
great idea. We've hired, experts. Here are surveys. Here are studies that were done, experiments, etc.
Yeah, but again, somebody's always.
So of
We
course, that's how
always
we
say,
follow
follow
the
the
money.
money. And that wasn't planned, by the way. So the study said that 55%.
Go watch the last podcast episode.
We followed the money. 55% of people support getting drunk drivers off the road.
Yep.
We get it. We understand that. So what this technology has been developed, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if the company that was designed to develop this, that it's not completely done, by the way, is the one who's paid the lobbyist. Somebody's got some fundraising going on. But the interesting thing about this is it doesn't exist. So I've contacted every single car manufacturer, and I've driven literally everything from a Rolls Royce to a Mitsubishi and anything in between. And I'm not calling one at the high end or the low end. I've literally driven everything. And every time I get a chance to talk to an executive or a product planner or an engineer, I go, hey, got a question for you. I go, this is off the record. So I guess it's on the record now.
Well, you're not saying who it is.
No. But I've talked to every brand. I've talked to all these engineers, and I always say, what are you going to do about the kill switches? And they all go, yeah, that's a problem because that technology does not exist. You can write the software, you can say what you want it to do, but here's where the qualifiers come in. We already all know that you can any car, and you're driving a Ford Maverick Lobo right now, and I'm driving a Lexus RX 500. This is our test vehicle for the week.
Yep.
You'll see the reviews on Car Smarts. All the news lives here on Car Coach Reports. All the car reviews are in Car Smarts.
Link in description.
Link is in the description. You'll see on top of the steering wheel on the column, there's like a little box. It's about this big, and it looks at your eyes.
Either through camera or some kind of laser signal like infrared or
There's
something.
a whole bunch of companies that
there's
make
a
them.
lot of different ways to do it because that's actually pretty easy. All they're doing is tracking your face
Right.
and determining whether or not you're actually paying attention to the
Tracks
road.
your eyes.
Because I was just saying that I was driving one of our test vehicles a couple weeks ago, and I was pulling up to a stop sign, and I looked over at the screen, and I changed the song, and I must have been looking away for 1 second too long. And I remember I had just pulled up to a stop sign. I was looking away for 1 second too long, and the car starts yelling at me.
Nanny,
You need to stop for a break, distracted driving. And I'm thinking, I didn't do anything. I didn't go anywhere.
A lot of people complain about that, by the way.
Yes.
So
You can turn it off in a lot of cars. Some of them
not anymore.
A
Not after this bill
So
goes
that's the
through.
big thing is a lot of these safety features. Not all of them are.
They're
are
nannies.
autonomous,
Let's
but
be honest.
nanny.
I don't
features.
need my mother. I love my mother, but I don't need my mother. It'd be your grandmother. Yes, he's my son. Because a lot of people ask. Over my shoulder going, you need to slow down. You need to pay attention to the road. Nobody likes to deal with that. If you don't want to drive, pull over in a parking lot and figure it out.
And
So let someone else drive.
And more these days, you can't turn them off permanently. You can only turn them off each time you get in the car.
Yes.
Forward collision mitigation, lane keep
Start,
assist,
stop technology.
stop, you name it. There are some systems you cannot turn off.
Most of them you can't.
I was driving the Toyota GR86, and
That's fun.
It's the same as the Subaru BRZ. It's got Subaru's eyesight in it. And while I turned off as many things as I could, because I don't like driving with those systems, I learned to
Yes.
drive on old cars. I don't need any of that stuff. Of course, for some people they need it, which is fine.
Or they want it.
the
I know people that
technology-
love it.
Let's be clear as well. The technology in a lot of these cases is very impressive, but it's
It
not
is.
perfect. And where it's not perfect is where the issue lies, because why would you take a system that has a high a high issue rate
Mhm.
and say it's gonna fix everything,
Well, again, this is the
right?
problem. So I should qualify that not every car has a little box on the steering column. If you don't know if your vehicle has it, take your phone, literally pick it up and take a picture of the gauges in front of you. You will see 2 red dots, 2 green dots, 2 gray dots. You'll see 2 dots and you'll be like, hmm.
And that's what that is.
So recently I was driving a European vehicle. I won't say the name because they did send me a snarky note because I did have my sunglasses on, which are mirrored. You see them in some of my
Oh, and
car
it was yelling at you, right?
it couldn't see my eyes, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't let me use the center I'm gonna call it they call it self-driving. I'm gonna call it roads lane centering technology
It's
because it
it's
couldn't
it's
see
stage
through
it's stage 2 highway,
or it's yeah.
semi-autonomous.
So I was riding with Al
It's
Vasquez.
cruise control.
Yeah.
It's really, really fancy cruise control.
So I was riding with Al Vasquez, and he got behind the wheel, and he had no problem
Yeah.
because his glasses are more clear more see-through than
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
So I got
And
back
any
in
polarized lens, it won't be able
that
to see for the
real highly
light,
mirrored.
for the infrared, it won't be able to see
Well,
through.
they're highly mirrored,
Yeah.
so that's why. So if
That's
I take them off and I drove, then it worked. So I thought that's interesting because a lot of people wear sunglasses, me included, because my eyes are sensitive to bright lights. So that was interesting. So that is something that they haven't overcome yet in every single vehicle. In addition, what else does this technology include? Well, this is where people get pissed off because how does it know you have alcohol in your system?
So
It
it's
wouldn't just be on your eyes. It can't look at your eyes and go, "Hey, you had a beer."
No. So that's why it says in the bill, and I can be more specific if I need to, but it's in there. You can go look up section 24220 of the 2021 infrastructure bill.
Right.
It's on
It's
there.
there. It's in black and white. It's
Yeah,
the same.
so if you go and read it, it says that it will specifically test the air
The air.
because when you breathe
Interest
out, particles from your breath would have little
What
bits
if
of
it's the person
alcohol on
that's
them.
sitting next to me?
That's a great.
I didn't drink, but I'm taking someone home who had a few too many because
Yeah.
I'm a nice person.
And then at the same
And now
time,
that's all over. We've all been in the car where someone has had too much beer, and you're like,
and if
"Ugh."
this technology is advanced enough, it'll also look at your eyes and see if you're, kind of drooping your eyes or
Well, then you might be
drifting your
tired.
vision, or if you're not keeping it straight in the
But
road. And
no, it
it
doesn't
does
matter.
some of those things now. But the big thing is exactly what you
There's
said.
more to
This
this, though.
technology does not exist. That's only the first part of the
The
technology. Just
alcohol in the air
just
doesn't exist.
detecting
Mhm.
this in the first place. No, the distracted driving is just, have you not looked directly ahead of you for X amount of
Right. You
seconds?
have to keep your head straight. It
Well,
tracks your eyes. But if I'm
mostly.
having a conversation with someone over
Yeah,
here,
if you are looking like this,
it's going to say you're not watching the road, but I may not be drifting.
right? But also, like, it every time you look back, it resets that timer. So if you're like checking your mirrors, looking around you,
Well,
you're in a high traffic situation. You're trying to be careful. You're on the highway and you're navigating moving pylons.
mhm. And there's a
You
company
know,
called Centrex, and we've covered it before, that in the rearview mirror,
oh
it
yeah,
doesn't just see the driver, it sees everything in the
mhm,
car. It sees the passenger, it sees your children in the back seat,
mhm.
your dog. It knows exactly what's
Yeah.
going
We
on.
covered that in a video a couple of weeks ago. You can go back
Right.
and look for cameras, I believe.
It was
The
collecting
keyword,
data,
yeah,
essentially.
data. We've
So
done a lot of videos
we've
on
covered
collecting
data,
data.
but this is where this all kind of comes together.
Yes.
Because first off, I just had my nails done today. And let's say they used rubbing
Oh, the
alcohol.
ammonia.
Oh, no, it's actually rubbing alcohol.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like, it's nail polish remover,
Yeah.
which is acetone. And if it smells that, is it gonna make it so I can't start the car? Oh, yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. Okay, so all right, that might be too far. Maybe I was cooking with alcohol, and when you cook with it, maybe you're making a cake or
Mouthwash.
something. Mouthwash, and I do know mouthwash has very high alcohol content. As a matter of fact, I know someone who had an alcohol issue who used to drink mouthwash because it had a higher alcohol content. So again, how would the car
There's also
know?
a lot
We
of
just
other
say it would smell
situations.
minty breath.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
working with
yeah.
certain products,
Right.
whatever. So that's
There's more to this.
so being able to detect this in the air is advanced technology, and we're already seeing an increase in price in your vehicle
Oh,
by quite a lot because of all these safety systems. More and more are being required over time.
backup cameras, forward
Yeah,
collision
backward cameras
warning.
were started being required in
I think
2018, I
so.
think
And
2017,
then you got
2018.
blind spot detection,
Blind spot detection is now
right?
mandatory. Now you got lane keep assist.
Airbags and everything else.
Well, yeah, of course, you have more and more airbags and
Mhm.
more advanced. The cars are getting bigger to be able to meet the crash specifications.
An offset crash test for
Yeah, and it's
from
and
IHS,
just
yeah.
everything's becoming more expensive because it's more metal and more chips and more everything,
Everything.
more everything.
So what else is it tracking? So we know it tracks your eyes. We
And
know
we ha-
it's trying to
We haven't even
track.
gotten to step 2 of the process. So keep watching as we get through
Yeah,
this.
because I'm gonna take you off.
Okay, so
So now we know it could be something in the air. Now it also listens to you. You probably didn't know that.
yes. Yeah,
So
listen for like slurred speech.
we have
or whatever.
all of us have had a conversation. Hey, we should go to so and so for dinner. And I'm getting notifications on my phone next time I get online or on Facebook or one of the other social media platforms saying, "Hey, have you tried the new restaurant you were just talking about?" And I'm like, or
Yeah, it's already listening.
it's already listening.
And cars are already collecting all sorts of data.
They're listening.
Nissan got sued over collecting information specifically about people's personal sex lives.
That was like 2 years
But
ago.
that was like 2 years. But the point is that
Like
cars always
stay
listen
out of
to
my
you.
bedroom. Yeah.
In one of the cars we were driving recently, I saw a sticker on the dash because sometimes we get like a brand new car.
Pre-production.
It's got like 100 miles on
Yeah.
it, you know.
Mhm.
And the sticker on the upper dash said, or on not the dash, the overhead where the switches are and stuff. Um, it said that this car is consistently connected to a signal and sending information back to the manufacturer
Right.
about the driving habits and navigation. And of course, they're using that for collecting information about your how fast you're driving and
Right.
where you're going
Mhm.
and the way that you drive your car, the places that you go, maybe
There's no
whether or not
privacy.
traction control's been activated. It's
But
trying
think about that.
what it's because it's selling all of this information. Some of it's to actually improve the product.
Some of it's
And
to track auto journalists who drive cars like idiots. And now, some of them do. Some of them are very aggressive.
as long as it doesn't come back to me. No.
Well, they know who they loan the car to for a period of time. We sign an agreement, and
Yeah.
in that very long agreement, which no one reads the small print because what the big print gives, the small print always taketh away. That's my line. I guarantee you they're using that. They're tracking you down. Say, don't loan cars to so and so
I'm not
because they
sure.
drive like an idiot. Oh, 100%. It's all with
look,
AI being what it is today.
I was young once and I drove cars very stupid because I had an opportunity to do so.
But you're not 18 any longer.
You're right.
And that was then and this is now. And today's
And the
cars that
yeah,
we're
it's
getting,
much more.
they are collecting data. They even ask for copies of our driver's license. But
Yeah.
let's step back a second. If it's listening in the car,
Yeah.
and you're having a heated conversation with your spouse, with your kids, with your boss, with your your friend, you're disagreeing about where to go to dinner to, I don't know, pick a subject. And I'm sure you can come up with a billion scenarios, which there's always a lot with this subject,
Mm-hmm.
and you get mad. Or you're calling one of the cell phone company and they're not servicing you well or whatever. I can't believe you billed me for this.
Right.
That's absolutely absurd.
Right.
Blah,
You're
blah, 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 blah.
distracted.
And
You're distracted.
you're driving. You
You're-
got your eyes on the road. You're driving down the road.
Yeah,
but you're peeved
Right.
at something or someone or a
Right. Does it
situation.
determine that that's unsafe driving?
Yes, it does.
Well, we don't.
Because it's
We don't know for
considered-
certain, though. Do
Well, according to the way the code is written for this company, that is the first one to have come up with the software that is not completely done because they don't have the air set figured out yet.
we? Right.
But they will. Don't give them too much time. Because remember, look what we're doing now with technology.
It's exponential.
With AI, they can probably determine it before you even touch the car.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but yeah.
So with that thought in mind, that means that it's listening to your conversations.
Well,
Where's
and-
that
and-
data going? Where's that data going?
It's going back to the servers for the individual car companies, and then they're collecting that data, potentially using some of it for improving the product, depending on what they're capturing.
Insurance companies,
Insurance companies,
police, saying to the police, if you're
the navigation, music,
Government.
advertising, because now they're talking about in-car advertising. I think there was it
Ford started, and then
Jeep?
everyone complained, and they
right? I
pulled
think
back.
Jeep actually did it though.
I think
they
Jeep did, yeah.
and I don't know if they're pulling back on that. But then there's all sorts of
There's a lot of changes at
like,
Stellantis.
do you use the heated seats? Well, not a lot of people use the heated seats, so maybe we should
I
turn it
do.
into a subscription BMW.
Yeah, and then they got tons of
But the
heat.
whole point is that
They
they're
pulled back.
collecting all this information and they're using it whether or not you want them to. And if you turn it off, so we were driving a Mini.
Mhm. That was a lot of fun.
No, the new Mini is very cool.
Yeah.
But the first thing I do, and anytime we'd get in a journalist car, is we drive around, we test all the features,
Right.
and then after
We show you everything.
we do all the safety features, we do the review, and then we turn everything off
We get to drive it
so
for
that
a
we
week.
can drive it for the rest of our time
Right.
with the vehicle. and actually try to enjoy our experience with it rather than it bothering us every 2 seconds that, like, there's construction on the road and I have to be on the white line, but it's yelling at me that I'm gonna drive off the road. Not dealing with that.
Yeah, I'm not a lane departure warning person. I do like blind spot cameras, and
spot's
blind
great.
spot detection's excellent.
Mm.
But a lot of these lane centering features, which you can use if you're on the highway, if you're in a construction area, you got to take the wheel.
So the point is that I turned off, I turned off, like, all these kinds of, like, sending up to the server and data collection
Oh,
and,
did you?
yeah, improving your experience.
Surprised I didn't get a nasty
There were
email.
are you ready for this? There were 30 options in this menu to turn off all of these different features.
They'll turn them back on
And
the
then
next
I went
person.
back to the home screen and I plugged in my phone and I used CarPlay. Well, I unplugged my phone and I realized I can't get navigation. Why isn't the navigation showing up? Well, now this new thing that they've added in is that you must turn on the certain options that data sends back up to the server,
To
and
use the
it's a
navigation.
collection of, like, a bunch of different things. It's like a big brick of explanation where it's like 10 different 10 different things get turned on all at once so that you can use the navigation, because navigation is only one of those 10 things.
And a lot of new cars.
So it's kind of forcing you into opting in
Oh,
because you
oh,
can't
absolutely.
opt out.
So
You can opt out,
but
but
they
if you
take
you
the
lose
data
features.
off your phone. How I know this? So I have a new.
That's true, yeah.
I'm driving a Lexus right now, a top of the line, really nice car. Really,
It's really nice, yeah.
it's really
Review
nice.
coming soon.
Yes, it's a Lexus L RX 500
H.
H.
Is it the F Sport?
Performance, all F Sport
F Sport,
Performance,
yeah.
all-wheel drive. It's
Yeah.
the longest name on the planet.
They always make them long.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want navigation, you have to subscribe. So you're there. I'm going to
No,
subscribe.
you just plug in your
I
phone.
plug in my phone. Well, now it's taking the data off my phone.
Well, it's always been doing that because your phone's taking data off your phone as well. And
But it
sending
goes
out.
through the center
And
screen,
goes
and
through
they
the
got
camera,
it.
and it says, "Oh, we know that you're in a car."
Right.
And you can block some of that using
Some.
using a VPN or selecting certain data options.
At
But
some point, it won't let you use the navigation from your phone, Apple
yeah,
CarPlay,
at a
Android
certain
Auto, if
point,
you
it stops
shut
working.
off the information that they want on you.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's ways for them to collect this stuff. And we've talked about this, like by the mile fees and all the other things that we cover on our channel, because we really cover a lot of information that no one else is covering. This kill switch is so much more than that. So it's listening, it's watching your eyes,
Yeah.
it's checking the air.
You probably can't.
And
You probably won't be able to turn it off.
part of that technology is where the start stop button, where we all push to start our cars, unless you've got like
If
an older Porsche where you put the
They
key in and
check
turn
your
it.
blood alcohol level when you press the button.
That's what they want to do. The goal is to use when you touch your finger.
So then it wouldn't be a button. It would be like
Starts.
like on Hyundai, they have the little thumbprint. You can start your
Yeah,
car.
Genesis has it. Well,
Genesis.
it's finger. A couple of them. Mercedes has it.
Yeah. There's like
Mercedes
the little
Benz,
disc like on the old
and you
like
set your fingerprint
IBM
to it.
laptops, and
Right.
you like scan your finger.
Well, it does that so that you don't have to carry the key fob with you. So
Yeah.
they're giving you a little bit, but they're taking away your freedom on the other side. So you
Yeah.
just keep a little credit card, toss it in your
So,
pocket.
but how
You
would
don't
they
have to
be
carry a
able
key.
to test your blood alcohol level just from your thumbprint?
There's no way to do that.
I
It
mean,
would have to be a breathalyzer. So
or they'd have to prick your finger. Maybe
there
there's
would have
some.
to be a combination thereof.
To be fair, maybe there is
Oh,
some
you
advanced
can't prick your
technology.
finger. Oh my God.
No,
it'd be
that'd be
selfish.
horrible.
That'd be really
But maybe there's some advanced technology that we aren't aware of. There, it actually
yet.
can sense it through your thumb. I want to get to step 2 of this whole process. All we've been doing is talking about the
I
sensing
just want
of
you
the
to
problem.
realize that this kill switch is the biggest issue that's going to tick off a lot of
Mhm.
people. And I know some people have said in the comments, well, you know what? Then I just won't buy a new car.
That's fine.
That's fine. That's your choice.
But wait
But-
until they say you have to install it in your old car. California tried to do that
Mhm.
with, I think the kill switch.
Well, they've
actually.
tried it with a whole bunch of things. They've tried to eliminate classic cars. We've covered that before.
Yeah,
You can check that
they
out.
made a move that would have essentially made it impossible for you to drive a classic car. See, a lot of times when we say things like this is banning you from doing this is preventing you from doing this is we're doing it because it's easier to talk about these things rather than, breaking out a very descriptive 2-sentence breakdown of exactly what we're talking about, and you're like, we'll just call it a kill switch because it is.
Right. So when
In the same way that it's a classic car ban, even though that's not really like just like
That's
the
what they
EV
want.
mandate. The EV mandate's not an
it's
EV
gone.
mandate. It's just making it so hard
Yeah.
for you to not drive an EV that you might or for the manufacturers to make non-EVs that you might as well get an EV. Except for there was some rules that were very recently repealed that did make you buy an electric vehicle if you were buying a
gone.
new car. That's gone, thank God.
$7,500 tax credit goes away at the end of 2025 if the big beautiful bill passes. It's currently in the Senate's hands. We'll see what happens.
There's also other bills that are sitting on Trump's desk waiting for him to sign it,
and
but he's already promised that he
Yeah.
will sign exactly what I was just talking
Yeah.
about with the EV mandate.
Yeah. So I will tell you that's why some people think, I don't think it's true, Elon's ticked off at Trump for now. But I don't think
it's all
I
politics.
say it's kayfabe, but we'll find out. And if you don't know what that is, just watch WWE or WWF or
KAYFABE.
KAYFABE.
Yeah, it's essentially fabricated political.
It's an agreement. Okay.
So anyway, step 2 is that the car's got to stop.
Right.
Or not turn off in the first place.
Not turn on.
Not turn on. Or let's say that you
Right.
start driving. You are drinking while driving.
You
are getting high while driving. You're getting distracted while driving. And the car says, we have to stop.
What is it?
You are already in motion. You're
Yes.
driving on the highway at 70 miles an hour.
You're just driving around town.
So
Flat four-ways
there's-
go on. We've
as-
seen this technology.
I was going to say
Infinity has it.
VW. Oh, Infinity too.
Yes.
I was going to say Volkswagen did a whole video campaign online, and they were like, "This is brand new technology. It's amazing." It's sorry, people. It's brand new technology. This is amazing. If you have an issue, the car will turn on the flashers, go into the next lane. It will check all the cameras around you and very safely and very slowly slow you down, move you over to the side of the road, and stop and shut off the car.
And I actually experienced
So
that
it works, which is really
3
cool.
years
honestly.
ago, riding with Javier Mota.
Yeah.
And they were showing us the new technology for all Infinities. Now, Infinity's got its tons of issues right now, but hopefully they'll figure it out because it's Nissan's luxury line. And I do like the product. It's just
They're hemorrhaging right now.
Yeah,
But
they got a lot of issues. I think
Yeah.
the new CEO and a bunch of things, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll be watching. And we'll be reporting on it.
Mhm.
So the thing is, when this all came out, I was on fire. So I put it all over social media, all over the news, all over the radio, all over the internet. I hit it hard. It was picked up by Thomas Massey. It was picked up by Byron Donalds recently. We're still putting it out there on a regular basis.
Mhm.
The Federal Registry, before it became law, put out that section 24220 of the infrastructure bill and wanted feedback from consumers. So again, I'm out there.
That was also part of the bill that they specifically go and reach out to the public and see what they had to say.
You have like 48 hours to put commentary in. So I lit it up. I had
At the time, yeah.
typically they'll get 5, 6 comments, maybe 10. We had like 24,000 comments
Because we were warning people about it ahead of time.
from not
Lots
just
of people were
us,
talking about it. Yeah.
but from you.
Yes.
So you voiced your opinion
Mhm.
and they ignored it.
Yep.
And the reason why is it says in the Federal Registry, you can dig it out, that they're expecting a 20% failure rate. I'm like,
That's crazy.
what? So I'm going to put this technology in your car and you're expecting a 20% failure. So 80% of the time it's going to say, hey,
Well-
I know based on the fact that you used your Apple Pay
Mm.
to buy a beer, and then I know you're in your car and you're going to plug.
If it's tracking you like that, but it might
Sure it is.
Well, I think
Absolutely.
so. Hold on. I think
Who
that's.
knows what you bought?
Well, I think that retroactively, the police might be able to
I
do
think
that.
giving them bad ideas.
Yeah,
sorry.
true. But I think you're thinking too dystopian.
1984?
No, I was
the
thinking-
book?
I was thinking more like cyberpunk,
Oh.
where
No, I'm
like
thinking
everything's
1984
tracked
dystopian.
live, and like
is.
police know that you're doing a crime the instant you're doing it, kind of like
Well, not yet.
future dystopian kind of stuff.
I've been watching too many movies. I keep referencing movies, but I won't this time. But
So what I'm saying is that I think that there is there's a lot of technology that could activate wrong, but the question is, which way is it going to activate wrong? You're driving normally?
You
There's
can't
nothing
open-
wrong
you
with
can't
you.
start your
Hold on, it's one of two ways.
Mhm.
You can't start your car because it's detected incorrectly that there's something wrong with you because, I don't know, you got a lazy eye or something. I don't know.
I have friends that have that, and that's a problem.
Or you're driving.
You're stressed because someone needs you in a rush.
Whatever. You're driving. Everything's totally normal. There's nothing wrong with you, and that 20% activates essentially, and it decides that it needs to stop the car, and you're like, "What's going on? I can't drive." Or it goes the other way, where you are a drunk driver. This thing is specifically supposed to stop you from drunk driving, as the first of the two categories.
Assuming that it works
and
properly.
then it doesn't activate exactly when it needs to, and
You
then
could hit someone
and
if
then-
it slowed a car down
and
and
this
put on
whole
four ways.
conversation comes up again, and there's more regulations put in, and more of your street freedoms are stripped away
You
because
don't get them back.
20% of all drunk drivers, we were supposed to be at 0. That's not how this works.
Nothing zero. And I know that even Volvo has said they want to have 0 deaths on the road in their vehicles, but you can't guarantee what other
Volvos
people
are
are
very
doing.
safe, but
They're very safe, but you can't control other drivers.
exactly. Well, that's
And
what we always say. You've been saying this to me since I first got my license at 16. You said, "I'm not worried about you." And that's fair because I was racing since I was
since
6 years
6.
old. And
He's a champion, don't let him kid you.
yeah, and I was reviewing cars, my first review, Volkswagen CC. I was 17 years old.
Yep.
Um and so you always said, "I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about everybody else on the road."
'Cause there's some bad drivers.
And here's another piece of this. Let's say that this technology does work. Let's say that the failure rate's a more acceptable amount, something like 2%, right?
I don't think so. I think you're gonna have a lot
But
of
let's
scenarios where
just say,
people are pretty peeved.
but let's just say
Yeah.
that you can't control all the other people on the road. You're still driving an old car, or they've found a way to deactivate the system, or it fails in their car
Right.
if they're a drunk driver.
Well, that's where
And now you're getting
that's where the lawyers go, "Oh, this is awesome." You know?
yeah, there's all sorts of issues
Yeah.
here, and it could go right back up to the federal government because who's going to get sued in all of this? It's going to be the manufacturer of the car.
Right.
It's going to be the manufacturer of
The software.
the software to detect,
Right.
and maybe it's multiple
Insurance
developers. It's going
companies.
to be also the technology to pull over and stop the car. Maybe if it sends it up to a cloud to get analyzed, the insurance company, the driver, their family, their business,
Okay.
the
So
government. Like this is, it's a follow the money thing again. But
isn't it always?
if this system doesn't work, which we don't want it anyway,
No,
just
we wanna
just to
get
be
this
clear,
we're gonna get to that in just a
if
second.
you're
You just
drunk,
need to know what it's all
yeah, if
about.
you're drunk, you should stay home.
Right.
But
Or get
you
someone
shouldn't
else to drive.
you shouldn't be forced to have this technology, or you shouldn't have this technology
But it's
forced
only
upon
in
you
new cars.
because it's guilty until proven innocent. Because imagine, I don't know, you guys have probably seen it. The big device they stick in your car, they make you install it in the dash, and they hook it up to the ignition, and you have to blow into it in order to start your car.
I have
If you
not
have
seen one of
if you have a
those.
DUI.
I don't I've
They're pretty
I've never
chunky. They're like the size of your phone, extra
Really?
thicker. Yeah.
Really?
And they have a little nub
Where have you
sticking out
seen that?
on TV.
Oh, I knew somebody.
No, nobody I know. But I've looked it up as well.
Does work.
Because when we first started talking about this kill switch, and I was pulling together B-roll for the video, I was looking up real breathalyzers that are
They're big.
in the car with, and they're big chunky things. Some of them are different, and they've got
But
different
there's
sizes.
32 different devices that really do work.
You blow.
But if you got an older car, they would install it. It would be mandated by the courts.
Yeah, you blow into it, and it works
until somebody else
good
blows
percentage of the
into it.
time, and they can't control that.
No.
But it works most of the time. We're talking about a technology that
New.
is forced upon you if you have a DUI. Now the kill switch is forced upon you whether or not you've had a DUI.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, imagine that you have to check with the cops every time you walk out your door.
Well,
It's
that's control,
we're
isn't it?
we're at this level where essentially your car is like a member of the police state. It's Big Brother.
Oh, yeah, 1984.
Yeah.
We keep coming back to that. If you haven't read the book, at least read the Cliff Notes.
What was the other
version of it.
one? About the fires.
I-
Also about burning books. Anyway,
But
there's lots of great examples.
here's the
Essentially, we're
interesting
talking
thing.
about a dystopian future here, and what we
well,
want to
it
do
could
is,
be pretty close.
yeah.
So, and it should have already happened. So we don't know if Buttigieg did anything because there's no record of it. So which means he
Well,
dropped the ball because he was too
So
busy.
what he probably did was
doing
just
whatever.
say, "Hey, I couldn't get the rules done in time."
or the
Because they're
technology.
supposed to give a reason, and then they were supposed to defer if the technology didn't exist or if they couldn't get the rules done in time. And I assume that he did both because we haven't heard that something did happen, because we would have heard.
There's a lot of things going on, and I try to bring them to the attention of Sean Duffy as well as Lee Zeldin.
And you guys, because we're going to tell you at the end of this conversation what you can do about all of
Because
this.
there is something we can
Because
do.
this is an ongoing issue. This is not well, it's pretty bad. Let's throw our hands in the air and go home.
Nah, that's not me, if anyone knows me. All right, so you're busy. Your mom falls. This scenario.
Sure.
She goes, "Oh my God, I need your help." You're like, "Oh my gosh." You panic like anybody would do. You grab your wallet, you go to your car, you get in the car, and you're like, it won't start. It senses panic on you because something
Or
happened.
whatever. Yeah.
Something happened. Fill in the blank. I'm sure you could think of 1,000 different things. instant.
depending on how it's designed, but I can definitely see that. Like,
Oh,
you're frantic,
right.
you're
You're upset,
like that,
and
and
it says, "Oh my God,
there's something
wrong with you?"
this driver.
Right.
We won't start the car.
So now you can't start the car.
Mm.
So what do? You get ticked, and you keep trying. Then you get mad, and you call the dealer. What the heck? I just bought this brand new car, and it's not running. I gotta go. It's an emergency. They can't do anything. There's nothing a dealer can do. You could call the manufacturer. There's nothing they can do because it's decided by a computer.
Yeah.
And this is where a lot of this
It's
AI
all automated inside the
technology
car, yeah.
is already there. There is no way to bypass it. You can't call the police. You can't call the government. And this is where that 20% failure rate is going to be a problem because I guarantee you there's going to be a lawsuit within a very short period of time of someone who couldn't get somewhere, get away from something, whether it be a forest fire, whether it be someone who needs your help, you need to get somewhere. Fill in a million
Yeah.
scenarios. Somebody's going to get sued.
You know what?
And this is going to be really, really ugly.
You've just triggered like a thought that I'm thinking that this is already happening
Oh, yeah?
in a slightly different way.
Oh, yeah?
So there are some cars, it's slowly growing, but forward collision mitigation or whatever it's called in your vehicle.
They also call it forward collision warning, but they
No,
warn,
no,
the
not-
warns
not
gives
just
you a
the warning.
notification, and then if you've ever been in a car and it goes, ugh.
Yeah, slams on the brakes for you.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about. Not the warning, the actual
The
the second
mitigation.
steps where it actually hits the brakes on you.
Mitigation.
Now,
yes.
imagine that you're in a car. And, not everybody is very tech savvy or gets their vehicle explained to them because when I worked at a dealership, I sat down for about an hour with almost every one of my clients, and it said, "This is exactly how you use your car." Now, did that make me a less successful salesman day to day? Yeah, sure, but
You did the right thing.
but wow, I didn't know that I could connect my phone to the car. This Bluetooth stuff's amazing.
I just spent an
Wow,
hour with a friend.
The trunk
doing
is
that.
automatic.
Well, I just spent an hour with a mutual friend.
Yeah.
Showing this person
Mm.
how to use their brand new vehicle.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "Why didn't you take the time with the dealers?" And that person said, I don't want to give up male or female or what that person is. They said it was Friday evening. They were getting ready to go home. I had a dinner reservation. I needed to go. And they said, "Call me anytime." And all they did was set up the Bluetooth for the
Yep.
phone. And I'm like,
And they do it for you,
"Whoa."
so you don't even know what you're doing.
So this is a luxury car.
Yeah.
We spent an hour and a half, and I went through every single screen and what to do. And they said,
Plus the safety systems.
plus all the safety systems. They said, I had no idea. I said,
So
this
that-
car is very advanced, and it's not a very expensive car. It is, but it isn't. I mean,
It's
overall, car
mid
prices.
range, yeah.
Yeah, but it is a mid-luxury, and I have to say it's a great car, but the salesman didn't even know half the things that I told this person. And that scares me because as a past dealer trainer,
Yeah.
I train dealership salespeople how to do what they call perfect delivery, where you go through and
Yeah.
go through all what you did.
That's what I did. Yeah. I didn't get the training.
Well,
but I kind of knew.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Well, we review cars all the time, so I kind of knew what to do. But so now you're in one of these newer vehicles. Someone hasn't described to you what's going on.
Right.
The car hits the brakes on its own, and it's one of the features that you can't turn off.
No.
In some of the newer cars,
Right.
it depends. We've talked
Some
about
you
this.
can, some you can't.
I've seen your comments. Well, you just turn it off. Not everybody can do that. It depends on the year of your car. It depends on the make, the model, etc.
Yep.
More and more cars these days are preventing you from turning off certain systems, and if they do, then it starts warning lights and all sorts of stuff.
It's very
if they
frustrating.
let
Every time you got to shut it off.
So the car, you almost get into an accident, or maybe you don't almost get into an accident. The car in front of you turns, and your car slams on the brakes. Maybe it causes an incident
Right.
with the person behind you. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
You call the dealership.
Right.
My car's broken.
Right.
It slammed on the brakes on its own.
I almost had an accident.
I can't believe the car. There must be something wrong with the car. You have to fix it for me, sir or ma'am. I don't know what to tell you. That's a feature. What do you mean it's a feature? I almost died.
Yeah. Well,
Or-
that's how people feel because it literally interferes
Yeah.
with you driving
Yeah.
and applies the brakes very aggressively.
And I'm being dramatic, but
No, we've heard people flip out.
you and I, we've been, just
hate
driving
that stuff.
along, and even if you put it on the least sensitive setting, and a car turns, and you're, oh well, I don't need to brake. I'm
gonna go-
I'm going straight.
I'm
They're
just gonna do a
turning.
little,
Yeah, or
sorry,
maybe I need to turn. Maybe I
doesn't
maybe
like
I can judge my speed, and I know that by the time I'm going to get to there, they're going to be well over the turn or whatever.
Mhm.
the brakes activate, and wham, and it slams.
I hate it.
Oh, in reverse, I've had that too.
Oh, that's new. A lot of them have
In
rear, was it rear intervention, I think they call it?
rear braking intervention.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different names
There's a
for
lot of
it.
names.
Cross traffic alert and
Right, it'll
ignition,
slam on the
etc.
brakes, and it really
Oh, in the
I got
driveway.
yes.
In the driveway, I'm maneuvering the
I'm, like,
cars
10
around.
feet away from the tree, and
There's a yeah, it's a bush. It's not gonna hurt the car, and it slams on the brakes, and
it doesn't know what it is.
it shocked me.
Well, it gives you at least a good shake.
Well, so we're being a little dramatic about all this, but there's definitely been situations like this, and now we're talking about you won't even be able to start your car, or your car
People are
will
gonna
pull
be
over to the side of the
peeved.
road and stop for you, which is the
That's
assumption based on the information that we
But
have.
what
But
does it
that's
know the neighborhood? Does it know if you're stuck on the side of the road, you're by yourself, it's dark, it's at night, you're in a not great neighborhood, should we say, or a
yeah,
dangerous
it's
neighborhood?
dark or rainy or snowy, and it's not gonna
What
be as
you
good at
could
doing.
die on the side of the road. Someone could hit you. You know, the four ways are going,
Yeah,
and you're
what's
like, now what do I do? You
what's
don't
the
get out of the
timer?
car.
What's the timer? How long will it let you
I
until it lets
call
you turn it
that
back on?
kill switch jail.
Yeah.
How do you get out of kill switch
Does it
jail?
lock the doors? Does it
We're
unlock the doors?
Nobody knows.
Does it call the cops on you?
Oh, great.
I don't know.
That'd be lovely.
Now the
The police
now
comes over and said, "Hey, we got a notification. You're under the influence.
Mm.
Please get out of the car. We're gonna do a breathalyzer test." You're like, "What are you talking about? I was having a heated conversation with my brother or something."
Yeah.
That
Or my favorite, I'm a little tired.
yeah, that's true. And we had a
It's
very
late. It's late. It's 1 a.m. I'm trying to get home. I'm a little
yeah. We
tired.
just had a friend flip a car, so
Not like
that was
like my eyes are drooping and I'm like
yeah,
falling
yeah,
asleep at the wheel, but I'm a little bit tired, and it
yeah.
goes, "You're distracted." And that's it.
But the car's making the conclusion for you.
Yeah.
And it's pulling over, putting on the four ways and shutting. Yes, it could save a life. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know you guys are going to go, what are you talking about? Drinking and driving is wrong. Don't
Yes.
do that.
But
Driving if you're tired
Mm.
is bad. Pull over, take a nap.
Yep.
And I've done that too. I've been on a
I
I used
I've
to
seen
drive back and forth to New York City.
yeah.
I would pull over in a rest area, lock the doors, and I just let the car run.
Stay at a
and-
friend's house.
yeah,
Whatever.
whatever.
Yeah,
Get a
yeah.
hotel.
Yeah. But
If you're tired, take a break.
the reason why we're so fired up about this is because when that 20%
Failure.
failure rate happens, you are going to be the one that has to deal with the consequences, and
You're going to be peeved.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
I
at
get
the end of
people
the
that
day-
come back to this.
At the end of the day, your
mad.
freedom is the most important part of this whole
Right.
conversation, and that's why we harp on things like the EV mandate and the tax credit and the kill switch and a lot of the other
Stop
stories.
technology.
A lot of
which
the
is,
other
thank God,
stories that
going
we
away.
dug into on the channel. There's tons of different regulations we've been talking about over the last however many years, because this has been the fight of our lives.
It's amazing how much stuff they've slid into the government, and I don't care what administration.
Mm.
There is so much stuff that one person gets slid into a bill and nobody reads them, and then it gets passed.
Yep.
So it would be nice if they actually read every page,
But
or
look-
had someone on their staff read every. And here's a summary, or give it to us so that we can read it. You can read them. If you've
10,000
got,
page bills.
well, a speed reader could probably read it all. But I don't know if you can process it all.
So can you tell us what can we do about all this?
That's the big part. All right. So we do know a few things. We do know that the Department of Transportation, under the which is run by Sean Duffy now, has NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. They can remove it,
Mm.
but it has to be done through Congress. So I think it can be written off, be removed, be defunded by the president through an executive order.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it can be defunded, which essentially means that there's no longer money going towards the whatever is
The
required
financing
to
of-
process that the bills and whatever.
That's number one.
Because they're probably also partially funding it through the government. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, I'm
to double check.
please. We're paying for all this stuff.
Oh, of course we are.
We're paying for our own control.
your tax dollars at work. Yeah, it's HR, which is the House. So the House would have to pass a bill.
Well, first off,
Or is it
the president
that'd
can
be
sign an executive
Congress?
order,
Yeah, that'd be Congress.
or the House can sign a bill. So when Thomas Massey read it on the floor, 19 Republicans voted for it. But believe it or not, AOC and a bunch of other Democrats voted against having this go through. I was kind of surprised. But some people are paying attention to realize the control, and they don't want that for them or for any of their constituents on both sides of the aisle. But because 19 Republicans voted for it, It is there. And that was under the Biden administration. He has not brought it back to the floor. I don't know if he can. So we are bringing it to the attention of Byron Donalds. He's shown interest. We're still working on getting a sit down with him because his interest is through a mutual friend. So I'm hoping that we can get places.
Yeah,
We're still working on it.
we have some connections here, but what
We
you
need
can
someone
do,
to get us to Sean Duffy so we can actually get this to him, or please bring it to him and have him
so
connect with
so while
us. We
Sean
will do whatever we can to get rid of this forever.
now while Sean Duffy is in charge of NHTSA,
Well, Department of Transportation,
Department of
which is
Transportation,
above
which
all of that.
yeah, so while Sean Duffy's in charge of that, and there are some big proponents of removing the kill switch from the infrastructure bill retroactively, um, there's also the case of when it eventually gets brought to the floor again, because it probably will at some
It'll have
point.
to be it'll have to be signed by executive order, then brought to the House.
But it has to
gonna
be
have
voted on, which
Right.
means that every single person watching this, on all of your friends and acquaintances and random people you pass on the street, no matter where you
Posts
are,
everywhere on social
or no
media.
matter where you are in the country, you have a voice and you have a say, you have a right and a responsibility to speak out and say, I don't want this.
Right.
You can say why, you can explain yourself.
And tag Sean
Call,
Duffy,
call your representative,
president, your
call your
representative.
senator, write them, explain why it's bad. You've heard this whole explanation and conversation, and you can say, we know that you're trying to save lives, but what you are doing is limiting our freedoms, our freedom of movement and our freedom of choice.
And it could lead
And
to
you-
a serious situation
and
where
you-
you cannot get to someone who needs your help.
Yeah, and the consequences have not been seriously considered. This technology is not ready. It does not exist.
We don't want it to exist. There are 32 other devices that can be used that work and function properly. You can't assume that everyone that drives with a DWI has a brand new car. They don't.
But also, you can't assume that everybody's going to drive drunk. Obviously, look, us being in America, we have a different kind of philosophy about how our people should be governed, because the government works for us. And if
And
we
we
lived,
fund them.
yeah, and if we lived in a police state where you're not allowed to do anything without the permission of the government, then yeah, you have to do checks and balances before you think a thought or step foot out the door.
That's not
breathe.
good.
But the point is that, yeah, I'm being dramatic for a reason, but the point is that you are being essentially accused of doing something wrong and have to prove that you're innocent while you're driving.
Right.
However often it checks you, every 30 seconds or whatever.
We don't know.
And yeah, and we don't know, but we have to consider that even the best case scenario is still too much.
Right. So here's another thought. What do we do then? What do you do? How do you keep people that drink too much, people not
You can't
distracted?
prevent it.
There's only one thing you can do.
Mm.
Teach them to drive better.
There you go.
We've covered that. If you look what happens in Europe, in Germany, it is a staged process. When you're 16, you get your permit. You learn how to change a flat tire.
You can't drive a fast car until you're older.
No, they won't let
So
you.
I think in Italy they do that.
Yeah, a lot of countries.
Poor Kimi Antonelli with his brand new hypercar, and he can't drive it.
But he can race it. But if you're an
He can
F1
he
fan,
can race an F1, but he can't drive his new car.
yeah. So I mean, when you're 18, you get a little bit more each time until you're 21, proving that you're a safe driver.
Yeah.
They drive on the Autobahn with unlimited speeds.
It's very restrictive, but it's making safer drivers. So
Right, which lowers insurance
driving
rates.
is not a right. And while
Yeah.
your freedom has many facets to it, and it should be protected at all costs. And there's going to be a lot of libertarians out there that say things like, well, you're going to make sure that I can't drive a fast car until I'm old enough. Like,
Well,
what the heck? And yes, and there's a balance that has to be made here. But would you rather have a more stringent testing system and not be able to drive a supercar that maybe your uncle bought for you or whatever until you're
sounds good.
until you're 20 years old, or
Right. Well,
whatever
that's the
restrictions be?
laws. And-
Or
Mhm.
would you rather having something like this breathalyzer system in your car?
I don't like it at all. I don't like the nanny state that they're listening. They're collecting the data.
Yeah.
What are they doing with that data? Are they selling it? Are they sending it
Yeah,
to the
definitely.
government?
They're selling it
Go
to
to the
everybody.
insurance companies? To go to the police department? Hey, we know you were speeding, so we just sent you a ticket. I mean, this is all coming.
Why do you think your insurance rates are going up every year?
That's a big chunk of it, for sure. And they really, really want
And we know for
control.
sure that's happening. If you by the way, side note,
Mm.
if you have any of these insurance companies get the little dongle that they send you in the mail,
It
and
goes underneath the dash
and you plug it into your OBD2 port under the dash, that's tracking everything that you do. And
It's
God
an open system.
God forbid you make a turn too fast.
We dodge a squirrel in the road.
Yeah, literally anything that you do, because nobody's a perfect driver, will increase your insurance rates. You are not saving money.
They'll claim you are, and you think, "Oh, I'm a great driver." Maybe you are. Maybe you're like always follow the speed
Well,
limits and
maybe
everything.
you've been in some crashes or something and your rates are high, but then you put in the thing and you actually are a really safe driver, and then it'll slowly lower your rates. But it's don't bother with these things. They're trying to get as much money out of you as possible,
Mhm.
because if you are getting something for free, you are the product.
Right. Now, also keep in mind if you want to lower your rates and you think that's the way to do it, you can go to AAA and take a driver school, take a class,
Yeah, I
and
did that.
yeah, it's like what,
It
2 days.
saves you money on your
It
insurance
saves you money on
regardless,
your
even if you've
insurance,
done nothing wrong.
seniors, new drivers, all that stuff. So, obviously, the bottom line here is we don't want these kill switches. We need to make sure they're removed forever.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is either get the president to sign an executive order or get it back on the House floor. I don't know if Thomas Massey will do this again. I do not have a direct line to him, but I know someone that does, and I'm going to continue to bring it to his
Yep.
attention. So, if you're in his district, get a hold of him. I'm sure you'll see him or anybody. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. This is not a
And again,
political thing. This
anywhere in
is
the country, because
yes.
every single representative is going to
Yes.
be
Yep.
voting on
Both
this at
sides.
some point the next time it goes to the floor, and they need to be aware that this is not
No, we
going
don't
to
want it.
go. And there are great lobbyist groups that are trying to that are out here trying to protect your freedom as a driver, like SEMA and Apex.
For National Motors Association as
Yeah,
well.
there's a lot of
There's a
great
lot of them, but
associations out there.
they haven't had luck getting this
It's
one because they have
very
other
slow and difficult.
things they're working on, like right to repair,
Leno's law in
right. There's
California,
a lot of things
the
going
EV
on.
mandate, which they were successful at lobbying and
Yeah,
actually finally getting on the floor. And if you
right.
want more information on the EV mandate, we've been covering it like crazy. Go to our channel and check out some of those
We
videos.
got a lot of stuff. Yeah, we appreciate your comments. If I missed your questions, because I have a long list of them, I'm sorry, but hopefully we answered them all.
Yeah.
And if you have any additional questions, put them in the comments below.
Yep.
We will answer them. Both Paul and I will be
Mhm.
answering through Car Coach Reports. Also, you can find us on all forms of social media. I'm at Lauren Fix, and also Car Coach Reports has its own social media as well.
Yeah, and I'm at PaulFix3. You'll probably see me on the Car Coach Reports Instagram and Facebook, letting you know when new videos come out. And of course, we post them all over the place. So no matter where you are on the internet, then Lauren is posting, and you will
3 times a
see
week on Car Coach Reports, 2 times a week on Car Smarts, although I'll
lots of
probably
stuff
give you
coming
more.
out.
Lots of content. We'll continue keeping our eyes on this. I have some really good stuff coming out that you'll be seeing this week on gas prices going up and why you're not going to be happy, especially if you live in California.
Mm.
And we have a lot of stuff on California Resources Board. We're watching the Supreme Court, waiting to see.
All of this
This
is
is going to be huge. It could,
multi-step process, but
yeah,
these are some really, really big moves that are going on right now
yeah,
that could mean more freedom for you.
right. Absolutely. We thank you for your support. And if you want to buy us a cup of coffee, the link for that is down below, as well as all the ways to reach us.
Yep, absolutely. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.